We can debate whether it makes sense, but Michael Bloomberg is now pretty damn solidly in third place nationally in the 2020 Democratic primary. Michael Bloomberg has pulled ahead of now fourth place Elizabeth Warren, certainly ahead of now fifth place Pete Buttigieg. And if Joe Biden continues his downward trajectory, dropping like a lead balloon over the last 10 days, and Michael Bloomberg keeps gaining at the rate that he has been, Bloomberg could conceivably be in second place nationally before Super Tuesday. I don't totally understand what's going on, but I want to go through the data with you and see if we can figure out what is going on here. Let's check out the latest polling. As you can see, Michael Bloomberg, if you're watching along with me, polling 15, 16, and 17 in 3 of the last 5 national polls, no lower than 11 in any of those. When we look at his trajectory on your screen, you will see the red arrow pointing to the orange line, which is Michael Bloomberg, entering the race at 2.5% in mid-November, climbing to where he is now in third place with an average of 14.2% in recent polling nationally. And then when you look at Biden's trajectory there, you see this just drastic decline. If the trend continues, Bloomberg could again pass Biden within about 10 days. Looking now at the exact numbers by candidate, you will see that Joe Biden is just 5 points ahead of Michael Bloomberg, 19.2 to 14.2. If Biden loses 2.5 points and Bloomberg gains 2.5, if Bloomberg gains 3 and Biden loses 2, any combination that adds up to 5, a 5-point swing, they will be tied. And this will absolutely shake up the Democratic primary on Super Tuesday. We'll look at some of those specific state polls in a second. Now, remember, this is all happening after our friend Benjamin Dixon unearthed some audio that was available on YouTube, but Ben found it, subtitled it, and publicized it, in which Michael Bloomberg speaks very insensitively on the issue of race related to young black men in the context of stop and frisk. Millions and millions and millions of views. Many people disgusted by the audio. Some people don't care. I mean, we got calls this week from viewers who said, my parents like Bloomberg. I showed them Ben Dixon's audio and they're still going to, they don't like it, but they're still going to vote for Michael Bloomberg. I don't yet know how the post audio polling will change for Michael Bloomberg. But if I'm totally honest with you, I don't think it's going to change that much, sadly. The real question that we're getting to is, when does Bloomberg start winning delegates? Because remember, polling 5% nationally or 10 or even 14, the way that Michael Bloomberg is doing now, is not particularly useful unless you can meet the 15% viability threshold in some individual primaries and start winning some delegates. As you may know, Bloomberg got 0 in Iowa, New Hampshire, because he skipped them. Bloomberg is skipping Nevada and South Carolina. Bloomberg has already this week been campaigning in North Carolina, an important Super Tuesday state. So when you look at where we have polling on Super Tuesday, it's looking okay for Michael Bloomberg. There are a bunch of states that vote on Super Tuesday where the latest polls are from October. Like, Bloomberg wasn't even running then. We have no idea what's going on. So if you look at Virginia polling, if you look at Minnesota polling, there is no recent polling out of those states. We just don't know how Michael Bloomberg is doing. California, we have quite a bit of polling, and Bloomberg is not doing well, only 4% in California. But then you look at Texas, and last month, Bloomberg already was at 16, and he may be higher now. You look at Florida, Bloomberg was at 17 in a recent poll. You look at North Carolina, where Bloomberg has been spending some time this week, at 15%. So that is a fair number of delegates. And this is both disgusting because he's just buying his way in. I mean, this is the height of, or the bottom of the barrel of, depending on how you want to think about it. This is the height of the oligarchy, of the kleptocracy. And we're going to talk about that word in the context of Bloomberg a little bit later on today. It's also fascinating, though, because the combination of a bunch of establishment centrists splitting some of the delegates so far, Biden, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar. On the other hand, because there's a big division between the candidates. You have Bernie Sanders doing very well, winning the popular vote in both Iowa and New Hampshire, and yet not currently leading in delegates. It's fascinating that Michael Bloomberg may soon get himself not just to second place in the popular vote nationally, he may end up actually getting more delegates than a number of the other primary or sort of more likely candidates. Last thing, and I want to devote a little bit of time to this because it is so weird. There is some reason that must explain why Michael Bloomberg so easily and so thoroughly triggers Donald Trump. And that's what I want to talk about next. Do you feel like you just don't have enough time to become as intellectually well-rounded as you would like to be, that there are just not enough hours in your week for you to read all of the books that you want to read? One of our sponsors is called Blinkist, and it's an app that lets you consume an entire nonfiction book in 15 minutes. It's only about $8 a month, but you can try it for free for a week and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. What Blinkist does is take thousands of popular nonfiction books and condense them into either text or audio that you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes. And what you get is all of the most important ideas and information from the book. Imagine being able to listen to an entire nonfiction book in the amount of time it takes you to drive or walk home from work. I just finished listening to The Way We Eat Now by B. Wilson, whose work I've recommended to you before. Super interesting look at how the global food system works and impacts the way that we live. Blinkist has totally transformed how I consume information. I love it. Of course, I read a book in its entirety when I can, but there are simply just so many books that I want to read and would not have the time for if it weren't for Blinkist. They have books on politics, economics, philosophy, science, you name it. You can try it out yourself, totally free for a week, and get 25% off if you decide to subscribe just by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video. Like the rest of us, I bet you're going into 2020 thinking about what you didn't get around to in 2019 and your goals for the new year. If you want to work towards being your best self in 2020, understand more about the world around you, and make sure that your time is well spent, then Blinkist is for you.